This past week, I hit freeze in my nervous system response. And since I've been studying this stuff and really learning how to metabolize certain situations and how to navigate them in order to get past the place where I get stuck, I had to look at where I was freezing and ask myself why, where it started, and more importantly, get myself to mobilize so that my body could start to relearn that it was safe here. It was safe to keep moving, to keep progressing forward instead of getting stuck in a full-on freeze mode. And when I say that I hit freeze, it wasn't only in my mental, it was in my verbal. I was struggling to produce words and to communicate. And it was also in my physical. My leg went numb. I felt like I couldn't move. I kept trying to get myself to move, but it was like trudging through mud. The resistance was very strong. These are all signals and cues that were telling my body that I felt unsafe in some certain way, and freeze was the way to protect myself. Now, I have been exploring these different parts and layers, and so I understand why my system naturally goes into a freeze response. That is step one, to understand yourself on a level where when your body and your system reacts to something, responds to something, you can then look at it with an outside perspective or a more broad perspective and say, oh, okay, I understand. I see why you feel unsafe in this moment and why this is where you're retreating to. This is the default. Now I can nurture, I can hold, and I can support you to a different place of trust and safety in yourself, or a different place of safety in your body, so that you don't get stuck here, or so that this isn't the continual response loop, because we all have a certain set default. And until we work with it and learn about it and care for it, we'll just keep hitting up against that same response and feeling like maybe you're making progress in areas, but you just keep going back to this. Or maybe you're trying so hard, you feel so strongly that you want to move forward through this thing, but you keep getting stuck. You keep getting triggered. You keep getting put back in this reactionary space that feels like a setback. It feels like, why can't I move forward through this? And I get it. I've been there. I was just there this week, and it pushed me to work through my freeze response in real time. And I share that with you guys in other videos, where I was frozen in a lot of ways, and my body was wanting to freeze and to close up and to shut down. And I was like actively doing what I needed to do to mobilize, because that's the opposite of freeze. So if you're like me and you freeze in situations that make you feel unsafe, then your first step in those scenarios in real time is to get yourself to find movement, to move the energy, to mobilize. That's how you rewire and rework that response loop in your own system. If freeze is not your response, if it's fight, flight, or fawn, which is also similar to freeze, then beginning to notice that and to have an awareness of that, you interrupt the loop, you interrupt the response that is the natural tendency, so that you can again imprint a new response, a more supportive and beneficial and growth focused response, to come to center, to come to peace, to cultivate safety in order to then meet the different areas of yourself, of your experience, of the things you are wanting to grow into. It all starts with your system and your understanding of safety within your own self in order to go there. So if this speaks to you and if you feel like you're struggling to make progress in one way or another, start with the awareness of what your natural default response is when you feel some sort of lack of safety. And then once that is triggered, in real time, find ways to support yourself, to counteract, to shift the way in which you and your body and your system naturally respond. And if you don't feel safe enough to do this for yourself, if you feel confused about it or you feel like it's overwhelming, because it can be. I understand that. It can be. It can be a lot and it can be nuanced. And in the moment, it's not super easy to change what you're doing because you've done it over and over and over again. That's where you're comfortable. That's what you're used to. And so if you are in the place where you really want to have a breakthrough and to really find that next level of yourself that is fully available, it just comes into doing the deeper work here to access that. And if you feel like you need some support in doing so, this is the type of work that I do with my clients. So feel free to reach out, book a session, book a call, and we can start to get you to a better place to build a different level of trust and safety in your system so that you can achieve the things and move forward towards the things that you know you're capable of, that you are desiring, that your soul is calling you towards. And all you have to do is come to your body, learn and understand what's going on there. Do the type of calibration and recentering, restructuring of your sense of safety, and then life will open. Lots of love.